Hi, Cancer. How's it going? I hope you're doing fantastic today. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Lynn and I'm going to be doing a Celtic Cross spread for you. These are your cards. I've already cleared the energy of the cards and these are all the cards that came out. So I'll go through them individually and then I'll just summarize everything at the end. It's a general reading, so only take what resonates and leave the rest. So the first card that came out is the Three of Cups. And this card represents your current situation. So this card usually points to connection, emotional support, and shared joy. It's a very social and heart-centered card, which fits your emotional nature well. So some of the common themes for this placement are reconnection and community. So it's saying you may be surrounded by supportive friends or family or people who genuinely care about you. Healing can come through conversation, celebration, or simply not isolating yourself. And the Three of Cups can also represent good emotional news. So this card often comes up when tensions are easing and there's a lighter emotional atmosphere after a difficult period. It's a celebration card or a milestone card, so you may be celebrating birthdays, reunions, engagements. It could be creative collaborations, or maybe a social gathering. So these could be very important to you right now. This card also, it represents emotional validation. So you may finally feel seen or appreciated or emotionally understood by others. And this card could also indicate a third-party energy. With regards to a relationship reading, it can sometimes indicate another person influencing the dynamic, but not automatically negative. We'll see what the rest of the cards say. So this card also suggests that you're learning to receive support instead of carrying everything alone. Or you're returning to people or environments that feel emotionally safe. Or your creativity or your intuition and your emotional expression is flowing more freely when this card comes out in a reading. Then what's crossing you or what's challenging you or your situation or what you're celebrating is the Five of Wands. So you can see they're all kind of fighting in that picture. The Three of Cups says there's connection, support, celebration, or emotional closeness available. But the Five of Wands brings friction into that space, competition, tension, mixed opinions, ego clashes, or scattered energy. So this card is telling me that there may be too many emotional voices at once. Everyone has their input or their advice or their demands. and you may feel pulled in different directions. Maybe there's some conflict within your social circle or a social circle. Maybe there's drama among your friends or coworkers or family, or romantic interests could be disrupting your peace. Or there may be internal conflict. Part of you wants harmony and closeness, while another part feels defensive or restless, or maybe emotionally overstimulated. There could be competition around attention or affection, especially if you're taking this as a love reading. There may be jealousy or rivalry or uncertainty about where you stand. There could be celebration, but it has chaos attached to it. Sometimes these two cards out together can literally show gatherings or events or exciting opportunities that also bring stress or personality clashes. So the energy together feels like there are people around you, but not all the energy is flowing smoothly. And for you specifically, the Five of Wands can feel especially draining because you tend to absorb emotional atmosphere deeply. You may be trying to keep the peace while tensions rise around you. The Five of Wands is usually more about conflict without true malice than outright betrayal. It's usually temporary friction or growing pains or competing priorities or emotional noise rather than something permanently destructive. So far the reading suggests that the connection is present, support does exist, but emotional interference or some kind of static is making it hard for you to fully enjoy or trust it. And then your third card is the Seven of Cups reversed. This card represents the basis of your situation or foundation. So this card, as the foundation, beneath the Three of Cups and the Five of Wands, adds a strong emotional and psychological layer to your reading. It's telling me that at the root of the situation, you seem to be moving out of confusion or fantasy or overwhelm or emotional illusion. The Seven of Cups reversed often appears when someone is finally seeing things clearly, or they're narrowing down their choices, or they're coming back to reality after emotional fog, or they're realizing not everything or everyone is what they imagined. So underneath the social, emotional energy of the Three of Cups and the tension of the Five of Wands, there may be a deeper truth here. It's saying that you're trying to figure out what is real and emotionally worth investing in. So the Three of Cups shows emotional connection and outside influences, but the Five of Wands shows conflict, competing energies, or emotional noise. And now the Seven of Cups reversed says the soul of the situation is about clarity emerging after confusion. So, Cancer, you may be distancing yourself from unrealistic expectations about friendships or love or community. You could be recognizing who genuinely supports you and who drains you. And these conflicts may actually be forcing clarity. You may be overwhelmed by too many emotional options or opinions or desires. And you're now trying to simplify things. So this can indicate emotional maturity developing through experience. So instead of idolizing people or situations, you're starting to trust discernment over fantasy. There's also a strong wake-up quality to this foundation card. Maybe you're noticing illusions are breaking or denial is ending, or your emotional priorities are becoming clearer. So the current energy is connection, support, social or emotional focus. And the challenge is conflict, competition, or scattered emotional energy. And the root cause is confusion that's clearing and reality surfacing. This doesn't feel like a hopeless spread. It feels more like you're in the middle of sorting out emotional truth from emotional noise. And then your fourth card is the King of Pentacles. This card represents your past, but is relevant to your current situation. These cards are so nice. I just got them in Italy. It's where Tarot started. But anyways, the fourth card represents your past. The King of Pentacles in the past position adds a stabilizing but significant influence to the spread. So this card often represents a person who embodied security or success or maturity or control. Or it can represent a past period where you focused heavily on stability or money or responsibility or career or building something tangible. So with the other cards, it suggests your current emotional or social situation is rooted in lessons about security and long-term value. The King of Pentacles represents a past influence tied to stability, structure, or someone dependable and powerful. So this card, this King of Pentacles, can represent a significant person from the past. It can be an older or grounded masculine energy. It could be a provider, someone financially established, or a person. It's either you or a person you once relied on for security. This person may still emotionally influence your current choices, especially around trust, commitment, or self-worth. It could represent a past version of yourself. It can also show that you previously operated from practicality and control, pri- pri- prioritizing your work over your emotions, or seeking security above all else, or building a stable life, or trying to hold everything together. And now the emotional cards or the social cards are pulling you into a more emotionally complicated space. Hmm. So let's see. You're beginning to recognize stability without emotional truth is not enough. Stability without emotional truth is not enough. There may be conflict between emotional fulfillment versus stability, or freedom versus control. Or there may be multiple people or opinions competing with what you thought was secure. The King of Pentacles is generally not chaotic energy, so the fact that the current spread feels emotionally busy suggests that you may be leaving behind an old structure or mindset or a relationship dynamic that once felt solid but now feels limiting or incomplete. This reading feels very much about redefining emotional security, or maybe you're figuring out who is genuinely aligned. And you're separating authentic support from distraction or emotional confusion. And then your fifth card is the King of Cups, and this card represents your immediate future, what's likely to happen very soon in your life. This is a very strong development for you. After the emotional noise and tension in the earlier cards, this king brings emotional mastery, composure, maturity, and deeper emotional understanding. I'm not sure if you can hear the coyotes outside. They're really loud. Since you're a water sign, Cancer, This energy resonates naturally with you. Can you hear that, coyotes? This reading is starting to show a clear evolution, I think. The King of Pentacles in the past equals external stability, control, material security. And the Seven of Cups reversed at the root equals emotional clarity emerging. And the Five of Wands in the crossing position is about conflict and competing energies. And the Three of Cups in your present position is all about social connections or emotional connections. And for your future message, immediate future, the King of Cups, he brings emotional balance and wisdom. Wisdom is developing. This is important because the King of Cups doesn't avoid emotions. He understands and regulates them. So this card is saying you're becoming emotionally centered after some kind of confusion or drama. And you're handling conflict with maturity instead of reactivity. You're gaining control over overwhelming feelings. Or you may be encountering someone else emotionally intelligent, compassionate, and steady. If you're looking at this reading as a love reading, this card is often very positive. It could represent a mature emotional connection, honest emotional expression, reconciliation through understanding, or it could represent someone finally opening up emotionally. It's saying you're learning not to drown in emotion, but to guide it. And there's also a striking contrast between these two kings. The King of Pentacles from the past is grounded in material and security energy, and the King of Cups in the future is grounded in emotional wisdom. So that transition suggests you may be shifting from what keeps you safe to what genuinely fulfills you emotionally. And because the Seven of Cups reversed is underneath everything, this emotional maturity seems to come through clarity and discernment, not fantasy. So despite the Five of Wands tension, the reading is actually moving toward calmer and more emotionally stable energy. Your immediate future looks much more emotionally controlled or compassionate and self-aware than your current situation. And then the sixth card represents the outcome that you desire most in your situation, and you have the Queen of Wands. So Cancer, this card is saying you deeply want to feel confident, magnetic, empowered, and fully in control of your own energy again. And this is a fascinating card for you because the Queen of Wands is very different from your usual emotional, protective energy. She's bold, self-assured, socially radiant, creative, attractive, independent, and unapologetically visible. So the message from the Queen of Wands is you may want at this time, what you want most right now is to stop second guessing yourself emotionally and reclaim your confidence. The outcome that you desire most in your situation is confidence, attraction, recognition, and personal power. So in relationships, it could mean that you want to feel chosen and desired, or you want to stop feeling emotionally uncertain, or you want to regain confidence after conflict, or you want to embody more independence and self-worth. There may be also a desire to become emotionally magnetic instead of emotionally reactive. With regards to your personal growth, the Queen of Wands could suggest you want visibility or momentum, passion, creative energy, and freedom to express yourself boldly. You want clarity so you can move confidently. You're balancing emotional depth with confidence. Mm, you want or you um, this card could also represent emotional maturity paired with charisma, or potentially a connection between two strong personalities. The energy is very powerful here. You're emotionally intelligent, passionate, socially influential, and you're no longer trapped in confusion. So your deeper desire may not just be peace, it may be emotional clarity that allows you to fully step back into your power and attractiveness and authenticity. And then your seventh card is the Queen of Swords reversed. This is your self-image card, how you see yourself. And the Queen of Swords reversed. This card adds a very vulnerable and revealing layer to your reading. Externally, you may desire the confidence and radiance of the Queen of Wands, but internally, you may currently see yourself much more like the reversed Queen of Swords. Maybe you see yourself as emotionally guarded or misunderstood. Maybe you're being overly critical of yourself. Maybe you're mentally exhausted or disconnected, or you're struggling to fully trust your judgment. This card often appears when someone has been hurt emotionally and now has questions. Maybe you're questioning your perception or your intuition or whether you're expressing yourself the right way. And for you, Cancer, this can feel especially intense because you naturally pres- you naturally process everything through emotion, while the Queen of Swords is mental and analytical. So reversed, maybe you're overthinking your emotions instead of flowing through them. You may be coming out of a period where confusion distorted your confidence, or emotional overwhelm clouded communication, or maybe you became too hard on yourself. Hmm. You may appear socially engaged, but internally you could feel insecure or emotionally defensive. Or maybe you're feeling mentally scattered from conflict. Or maybe you're afraid of saying the wrong thing. The Queen of Swords reversed can also indicate someone who suppresses emotions until they become sharp or withdrawn. Or this is someone who isolates after disappointment, or someone who has difficulty trusting others after emotional confusion. In this position, it's more about self-perception than objective truth. So you're going from confusion and self-doubt toward emotional mastery and confidence. And then your 8th card is the Knight of Wands. This card represents your environment or how others see you in your situation. So, internally, you may feel uncertain, emotionally guarded, or mentally overwhelmed. But externally, other people see you as exciting, passionate, energetic, bold, attractive, spontaneous, or constantly moving towards something new. This is a classic mismatch between inner reality and outer perception. People around you may think you seem confident and driven, while internally you're still processing confusion and emotional vulnerability. And the Knight of Wands also intensifies the fire energy already present with the Five of Wands and the Queen of Wands. So this could suggest that your environment is very active right now. There's lots of movement, communication, attraction, ambition, chemistry, or fast changing dynamics. With regards to love, others may see you as highly desirable or difficult to pin down or adventurous, flirtatious, or attracting passionate attention. But there may also be someone in your environment embodying this Knight of Wands energy. Someone who's charismatic, impulsive, passionate, but potentially inconsistent. In a social or work setting, you may be perceived as ambitious, socially magnetic, creatively energized, or eager to push forward despite conflict. You're evolving through fire energy, from conflict and emotional friction toward courage, visibility, and personal power. The Three of Cups and the King of Cups keep things emotionally grounded. So the reading isn't just emotional anymore, it's becoming transformative. You may be learning how to assert yourself or take action or trust your instincts and stop shrinking emotionally. So internally, maybe you feel uncertain, and externally, everyone thinks you're powerful or fearless. And then your ninth card represents your hopes and fears. And you got the Hierophant reversed, Major Arcana. So this card suggests you're wrestling with freedom versus structure. And you both want and fear breaking away from expectations. So this card often points to questioning traditions or rejecting old beliefs or resisting conformity or wanting to do things differently from what others expect. So what you may hope to escape limiting roles or expectations, or you may hope to stop people pleasing, or you hope to choose authenticity over approval, or you hope to break unhealthy patterns, or follow your own emotional truth instead of what you're supposed to do. What you fear, at the same time, you may fear instability or judgment or disappointing others or losing security or stepping outside familiar emotional structures. This connects back to the past influence of the King of Pentacles, a life, a relationship, or a mindset built on security and predictability. Maybe internally, you're asking yourself, if you become your authentic self, what will it cost you? There may also be fear around commitment or labels or traditional relationship expectations or institutions or being trapped in roles that no longer fit you emotionally. The old energy is all about stability, structure, emotional suppression, external expectations, and playing it safe. And the emerging energy is all about emotional truth, confidence, visibility, passion, authentic self-expression. This is why the reading contains both emotionally mature water energy with the King of Cups and rebellious fire energy with the Knight and Queen of Wands. Cancer, you appear to be in a transitional phase where you're redefining what security means to you or who you are emotionally, and whether you can trust yourself enough to live more authentically. The Hierophant reversed is saying that this transformation is not just emotional, it's spiritual and psychological and identity based. And then your last card is the Ace of Swords. This card represents your future if all is to remain as is. This card is all about clarity, cutting through confusion, and reshaping the situation through truth. So after all the emotional movement in the reading, from the Three of Cups, social energy, through the conflict of the Five of Wands, the clearing of illusion in the Seven of Cups reversed, and the emotional evolution toward the King of Cups, this final card brings everything into focus. This card is saying truth is what resolves this situation, not avoidance or emotional confusion. Truth is what resolves this situation. So this card could suggest a breakthrough in understanding. Something becomes undeniably clear, or there may be direct communication, like honest conversations or truth spoken, or important information is revealed, or it could indicate mental clarity after emotional noise. You stop guessing and start knowing. Or it can indicate a decisive realization, a choice or perspective becomes obvious and no longer negotiable. This doesn't necessarily mean conflict resolves gently. The Ace of Swords can be sharp, but it does mean clarity wins over confusion. The truth becomes more important than comfort, tradition, or emotional ambiguity. You're moving through emotional connection and social influence. You're moving through conflict and competing energies. Confusion is giving way to clarity. Old stability patterns are being questioned. Your emotional maturity is developing. And then You may have finally have a sharp realization that defines your path forward. The Ace of Swords suggests your situation doesn't stay vague, it becomes defined. Something is understood or said or decided that cuts through the uncertainty and sets the direction moving forward. So it's less about things remaining as they are and more about seeing clearly what as it is, what it actually is. You're moving from emotional confusion and social tension toward clarity, truth, and self-empowerment. So that is your reading. I hope you enjoyed it, Cancer. I hope it gave you some insider guidance. Thank you so much for allowing me to channel these messages today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.